automatic. Becky, great ball in. Ellen White for Manchester City.
Decent hit, wonderful goal. The first ever in a Manchester derby in FAWSL is an absolute blinder scored by Caroline Weir.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of MCW Fancast. I'm Emma, thanks for listening. On this week's show we're joined by Dave and Jayne from the OSC as we recap on the week's fixtures and look ahead to Sunday where we face Everton in the WSL. But first hear from head coach Gareth Taylor and Ellen White speaking at full time following our 3-0 win against Florentina in the Champions League.
Yeah, I feel pretty privileged to be in the middle of very talented players. So yeah, both of them are really coming into form. And yeah, I feel like we're all building a really great relationship. And yeah, for me, it's a dream to get those balls across the goal. So yeah, I'm delighted to be part of that front line, really. Yeah, it's great. I think if you would have told that or given us that before the game, we would have kind of snapped your hand off. So 3 goals, clean sheet, and we can kind of look forward to playing them next week. So yeah, we're delighted in that sense. Definitely things that we can improve on as well. But yeah, we're happy with the win and not the 3 points, but the 3 goals. Yeah, obviously, when they've got 5 at the back, it's for us to be patient and move the ball, tempo, and being really diligent in the way that we play, and just moving the ball with speed and keeping to the way we play, really. At times, we probably went away from that a little bit, probably rushed things. But on the other sense, we scored some good goals. Obviously, scored 3 goals and a clean sheet. So yeah, there's things that we want to improve on and work on, but yeah, I think in all we'll be pleased with the performance. Within our own kind of camp and within City, we control what we can control. We focus on what we can kind of control. That's training, working hard, and also what we can do in the games. We try not to kind of look outside of that really and focus on what we're all about. And, you know, Champions League is an amazing competition and a great one to be involved in. That's part of the reason I wanted to come to City. So, yeah, we'll take each game as it comes. We're excited. We're building good relationships and we're really kind of growing as a team, I think. Yeah, I think the 3rd goal was important. I think, obviously, yeah, we're delighted to get the 3 goals and the clean sheet and to look forward to next week. But on the other hand, we're a little bit frustrated with some of the things we did in the game, giving the ball away, a little bit sloppy, not being the Man City team that we know we are. So, yeah, we'll definitely be looking at changing and working on those things to really adapt and grow and get better as a team. So, yeah, on one hand, we're really delighted. And then on the other hand, we still want to work and develop and get better. Yeah, obviously we came out of the blocks pretty fast, scored kind of 2 goals in 4 or 5 minutes. And, you know, we actually could have scored a few more. You know, I'm a little bit frustrated. I probably could have scored one or 2 more. So, you know, we were trying to be patient. We're probably giving the ball away a little bit too much, but we kept probing. We tried to be patient. Obviously, they had a 5 at the back that defended really well. And we needed to be really conscious of the transition, of them kind of not moving up the pitch and attacking us. So, you know, we were patient and we obviously wanted to get that 3rd goal, which was important for us in the second half. Yeah, we've got a phenomenal squad. And like you say, we've got some great players that were on the bench and that we can bring on and can make a real difference. You know, Rose, Sam and Esme obviously came on and made a big difference. Obviously, Sam got the goal. So, yeah, we've got a phenomenal squad, not just the players that played, but on the bench as well. So, yeah, we're very lucky and blessed to have very talented players in our squad.
Yeah, I mean, we always knew that Lauren was going to be a big loss for us when we lost her in the kind of last pre-season game at Wembley. So it was kind of like getting a new player back, and I think we had to manage her in the right way in the last couple of games before Christmas. And she's made a big impact in the new year. So, you know, she's contributing like the players are, and that's important. Scoring goals, providing goals, and I think that's what you're looking for from your front three. And to be fair to them, they're all doing it on a regular basis. I think it was an important goal to score the 3rd one. I think that makes a big difference. I always feel like we're likely to score. I was even saying to the players beforehand, you know, even if we come away tonight with a 0-0, still stick to the processes, keep following the way we want to play. And I think that's really important. So, I was impressed with a lot of things tonight. I thought at times we forced the play a little bit and came off the hymn sheet, if you like, a touch. And the players were pretty honest with that afterwards. So we always want more. We always want to improve. We always look at areas where we can look to build on. But again, to be 3-0 winners in the Champions League, I think it's a real positive. Yeah, they're really nice people from Florence, and from my dealings with them from today, been very respectful, very humble. And I thought his team improved a lot in the second period. They showed their technical capabilities on the ball. Looked to try and hit us on the counter attack. Had one opportunity, but I think apart from that, we managed the game quite well. But like I say, I thought that third goal from Sam was really important late on. Well, I think if you look at her from when she first came to us to where she is now, you've seen a big improvement, particularly in her final actions, her decision making, and she's contributing a lot to the team, which is what we need. And I think there's still a lot of room for improvement with Chloe. But the beauty of Chloe is that, I've said this previously, she's very, very coachable. She's a good girl. She wants to learn. She wants to improve. I love her kind of attitude to want to get better and do really well for the team. She's a real team player, and on the pitch, she's a street fighter. She's really kind of dynamic, and she doesn't get bullied off of the ball. And I love that about her. So the fact that she's got that growth mindset, I think she has a real chance of, there's no limit to how far she can go. I think you have some ideas in your mind about games and potential games that are a few days away, but I think mainly I tend to go off of feel and go off kind of like that gut feeling. But yeah, we just thought that there was quite a lot of energy expelled, considering we were dominating the game, especially in terms of possession. I can imagine in the first half, especially, we were, it was like a half pitch practice dominating the play. But it opened up a little bit in the second half, and there was probably a little bit more physical outcomes for players. And yeah, of course, to be able to bring on 3 good players like we did, taking off 3 good players, that's the benefits of having those options on the bench, and I think that helps us. So yeah, it wasn't anything that was pre-planned. And then towards the end, the fact that we took off a couple of players, we took off all of the front 3 actually on Sunday. For the likes of Chloe and Ellen, I wanted them to play the 90 minutes as well, because I think that's important. So, and they want to play, but none of the players want to come off. Hempo we took off just because she had a bit of a tight calf. Again, she didn't want to come off. They want to stay out there, and everyone wants to play on these nights, which I understand. Yeah, I think when you have, Rose there with obviously her pal Sam on the inside and Lucy, there's 3 players there who are going to interact really well with one another, and Rose looks sharp. I think some of the positive crosses that were coming from down that side, we were looking, trying to get the message on to get Sam Lewis to change position with Georgia, because obviously with the crosses coming in, we probably needed that. And to be fair, it worked quite well with scoring that last goal. Yeah, it's great. And when she's played, she's had two periods on the pitch at Birmingham and tonight, and she's 3 goals, so I think it's the beauty of the front 5, as I call them at the minute, those 2 attacking midfielders in the front 3, no matter what kind of personnel we put out, he's really contributing. And I think the players are enjoying that challenge of knowing that they have to produce, because we've got players who can come from the bench and ignite it as well. Yeah, I mean, I love a team goal. I'm all about the team, and I've put a big emphasis on that, and even spoke with the players after the game around why we're doing well and where we need to be better, and the contribution of everyone. And when you score a team goal like that, it just gives you kind of evidence of this thing works, and we need to live and kind of really grow within it, because we're not perfect. And, there was a lot of parts of our game tonight where we weren't so good, and we need to improve. But yeah, the first 2 goals, I thought all 3 goals were very good. But like you say, that second goal, I'd probably have to say in my short-term memory would be the Brighton goal. I think it was Caroline Weir. That was a real team goal as well, in terms of like the directional play that we looked for. It was good positional play, and like you say, that goal tonight was special. And to score it in the Champions League like that is great. We need to work on Everton now. The next game is so important. And then once that's done, we look to the next game. I think once we start thinking about what other people are thinking or about the game that's 3 or 4 down the road is not the right way to do it. We need to remain focused. We can't have any complacency. We need to work hard on the training pitches, make sure everyone recovers in the right manner. And like I say, just get ready for Sunday.
Jayne, thank you both so much for joining me. How are you doing?
Hi, Emma. Yeah, fine, thank you. Nice to be on again.
Yeah, all good, Emma. Thank you. Nice to talk to you.
Yeah, you too. 2 results to talk about this week for City. The first being against Birmingham as the team returned to action in the WSL following the international break, and a midweek Champions League tie, round of 16 against Florentina at the Academy Stadium. Let's start with our resolute 4-0 win. FA announced in the lead up to the game that the fixture would be played at St George's Park, to the disappointment of Birmingham and its fans due to issues surrounding the playability of the pitch at Birmingham's home ground of Solihull Moors. Another big 3 points, and it's always pleasing, especially off the back of an international break.
Yeah, well, as you say, the build-up to it was all very negative around the Birmingham issues that they had with the ground, and that dominated sort of like the build-up to the game. And, I was a little bit worried that it may affect, obviously it had nothing to do with City. It was, Birmingham's issue, whatever it is. I've seen their fans are irate about it, and probably rightly so. And that's, they'd have more information on that. But I was a bit worried it might just, detract or distract us from the game, the bigger issues and things. And for us, it was about going there and getting 3 points. As you say, after an international break and the result against United before that, we wanted to keep that momentum going. So, the change of venue hopefully wouldn't throw us too much, and it turned out that it didn't. It was another professional performance, which they were quite resolute, I thought, Birmingham. First half, it took a while for us to break them down, but eventually the class showed through, and it was another good, resolute performance and a great 3 points.
That you could see of it anyway.
Well, yeah, there is that. Yeah, there was that.
Yeah, you have to try and judge where the lines were. Like, is that the penalty area? Is she in there? Is she out there?
It looked so wide. It looked so wide.
He was halfway up a bit of scaffolding with an iPhone, I think, filming that. But...
Yeah, but it was great to watch the game all the same. Sam Lewis back in the squad, contributing with 2 goals as well. How pleasing was that?
It was great to see her back. I was eagerly awaiting the announcement of the team before the game to see if she was going to make it back. It was great to see her. She played so well. She had such a good game, and to top it off with the goals as well, I think was definitely what she deserved.
Our third coming through Lauren Hemp, but the 4th goal, Casway contributing again. And Gareth actually spoke about how he'd like to see Way score more tap-ins. As she goes ahead and scores in the box. I mean, how's that for showing her versatility as a player?
Yeah, it was a great little finish, that lovely little just didn't finish, like you say. You don't see that as often from Caroline. It tends to be a bit more spectacular. Probably you could put Georgia in the same bracket as well. So, but they all count. They're all the same, and it's great to see. You want your midfielders chipping in with goals, and we've certainly had that this season. You don't want it all relying on your forward players all the time, although they've been doing well as well. So, yeah, it's great to see.
And then on Wednesday night, it was a welcome return of the Champions League. Serie A side Florentina travelled to Manchester in what felt like an absolute age since the round of 32 against Gothenburg. Talk about flying start, though. I mean, 2 goals from Lauren Hemp, Ellen White in quick succession in the opening minutes of the game. Definitely not the start that Florentina would have really wanted, but how impressive was it to see City hit the ground running from the off?
I think it was great. They came out, and like you say, it was an absolute flying start, and it's more than we could have hoped for. I think before the game, if you'd have said to us at half-time you're going to go in 2-0 up, we'd have definitely taken that at the time. So to come out of the blocks like that, so fast, so positive with the play, kind of getting up there, getting the goals, I thought it was a really good performance.
Yeah, there's a lot of games sometimes where you watch a start like that and you don't get the goal, and you think, we could be 2 or 3 up by now. But this time we took those chances, and they were quite stunned for the first 5 minutes. In fact, they were probably quite lucky it wasn't worse than 2-0. But then they grew into the game and showed that they were, quite a competent side at times on the ball and had a good chance themselves second half. But that flying start gave us such a good thing to build on. And then obviously the late goal making it 3-0. So if you'd have offered us 3-0 going into the away leg, second leg, I think we'd have all took that. So it's a great result. Another great performance. We are playing so well at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Florentina certainly grew into the game and they really tried to nullify our attacking threat. And some crucial shot stopping from their goalkeeper. I've got to say, I thought she had, she played really well, especially in the first half, because at 2-0, you kind of thought, City could have run away with the game a little bit, but it almost gave Florentina a chance to, come back into the game potentially. So that third goal was really vital. Yeah,
it's if you take the first 5 minutes out when we really did tear into them. After that, I would imagine that was their game plan they meant to start with, to contain us. Hopefully, they would then get a chance to nick a goal, an away goal, because that's invaluable, which they did have a good chance to do in the second half. So, other than that first 5-10 minutes, their manager was probably quite happy with their overall performance. But, giving a team like City, the quality of City, a 2-goal start, you are asking to climb a mountain then. So, and I'm really happy with 3-0. I thought it might have been a little bit closer than that. So 3-0 is a great score for the second leg. I'm sure Gareth's over the moon with it.
And you kind of felt City really needed to push on for that third goal. And it did finally come before the final whistle via another pinpoint precision cross from who else but Chloe Kelly and met with the head of Sam Mewis. I mean, that's like 3 goals, 2 games. I mean, you couldn't ask for more, really.
No, it was great to get that goal at the end. And I think, like you say, it was really important, especially with the start, getting those 2 goals so early on. I think people might have felt a bit more disappointed if it had only ended 2-0. So to get that third goal, I think, and to keep them out as well defensively and make sure they didn't get the away goal, I think the third goal was a massive part of kind of the whole tie. So hopefully when we go over there, we can get a nice early goal again. Probably not, asking for too much if I'm asking for 2 early goals as well when we go over there. But if we can just get one nice early away goal over there, and that should hopefully be enough to make sure we're through.
Yeah. Makes it a very tall order for them if we score, because they didn't get an away goal. So if we get an away goal over there, they're going to need 5 goals. So it's a tall order.
So something goes wrong if that happens. If they get 5 goals against us over there, something's gone very wrong anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Just not hopefully the early goal like we got against Gothenburg, just to sort of unsettle us a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a really strong result to take to Florence next Thursday for the second leg. It said 3-0 on aggregate, but still also play for maybe from, Florentina's point of view. But we really need to build on from obviously this result from Wednesday and progressing in the competition. It'll be the first time we go through to the quarterfinals since 2018.
Whoever we get, it's going to be tough. You're probably looking, if all the favourites win in this round and go through, which, you would fancy them to do, you're looking at probably the 8 best teams in Europe at the moment. So whoever we get, it's going to be a tough tie. Home and away, whether you're home first, away first, it's going to be tough. But there again, this is the Champions League, last 8. You can't really expect anything other than a tough time. If you want to win this tournament, you've got to beat teams of that quality.
Definitely.
In the last 2 or 3 rounds, which is what we're going to have to do, which is what everyone's going to have to face.
I mean, we've spoken highly of individual performances throughout the squad this season, but how impressed have you been with the coming together of the players and the application under Gareth Taylor?
I've been really impressed. I think he came under quite a bit of stick and a bit of scrutiny at the beginning of the season when the results necessarily didn't go our way. I think he had, there was a lot going on in that early part of the season. There was new players to bed in. There was him being a new manager and kind of his philosophy and him getting to know the players and the players getting to know him a little bit. So you have to take all that into account. And I think kind of since then, he's been absolutely flying. I think he's shown his quality as a manager. I like the way that he mixes it up in the games. I like the way that he'll bring on substitutions and move players into different positions and kind of ask different things of the players during the game. And I think I like the fact that he's somebody who will always be looking to do better he doesn't seem to be somebody who settles and says, oh yeah, you had a great game there. It's actually, oh yeah, and here's what you could have done to improve that performance, and here's what you could have done at that point in the game. So I think that's something that sticks out for me as something that I find really good in his management style.
Yeah, I think Jayne's right there. The early part of the season, for instance, when we lost the Charity Shield, Lauren got injured. There was individual standouts still. Right from the very start, Chloe Kelly at the ground running and played well, even in those early games. But people were looking at Gareth, and it was a new position. There were new players coming in. Some of them didn't arrive till after the start of the season. And it takes time just to bed these players in and get them to, train on a daily basis and know each other inside out and stuff. But that's shone through. And what's really good, I think, is the way that he's rotated the squad and brought people in. People, for instance, like Laura Coombs has come in, and every time she's come into that team, she's done a fantastic job in that midfield. And she's a bit more, if you like, an unsung hero of the team. She doesn't get the coverage that someone like Sam's been getting or Chloe's been getting, because they've all been playing so well. But someone like that, and Esme, and people who've been coming in and doing jobs and allowing Gareth to just rotate that squad and keep a freshness about it for each game, which is one of the reasons I believe we're on the run, we're on, good results.
Like you said, Coomsey stepping in for Kira in the absence of Kira. She's done a fantastic job, especially over the last 2 games. And, it was great to see Esme back in the squad as well. Yeah, it's brilliant that we can call among these players and they come into the squad and do a really good job of what's being asked of them. Sorry, I can't even speak. It's always...
I think in the past, we've always had a great team. We've been very lucky. We've had great teams and good squads. There's no two ways about it. But I would argue that this could possibly be our strongest in terms of a squad, because, like you say, we've got pretty much 2 quality players for every position. Losing a player of Kira's quality is a blow because she's such a good and such an integral part of the team. But then you've got someone of Laura Coombs' quality to come in, who's an experienced player, who's won trophies at Liverpool and stuff, and she's done so well, and she's just a good example of it, mixed together with young players like Jess Park, who came in and has done jobs here and there in the season. Esme Morgan, brilliant. And on top of that, he's also blooded some youngsters off the bench as well from the academy. So it's a real freshness to the squad all the time, which I think is really real credit to Gareth and his team.
Birmingham, we saw another new name on the squad sheet in Kiara Keating. 16 years old, goalkeeper, coming through from the development squad up into the senior team. She seems to be relishing under, being in the first team, in that training environment. And we spoke earlier in the season about the pathway for young players coming through and how encouraging it is to see as fans, especially this season in particular, where we've seen those players being utilised when needed as well. And we've got such a good balance throughout the squad of that youth and that experience. How important is it for City to continue to remain committed to the development of those players coming through?
I think it is. I think it's really important. And I think it's something as a club that the club are very interested in keeping as part of our makeup. We like to get young players and blood them through. If we can bring them through to the first team, that's brilliant. But also, if not, you're still looking at, there are a number of players around the WSL. If you look at goalkeepers, for instance, and Sandy MacGyver, who played in City's academy and things like that. So even if it's not Manchester City that they get a career with, it's still building them up and getting them to that level where they can have a good career in football.
And it's something that City have done so well, nurturing these young players and developing them. We've had obviously a lot of success ourselves, but like you said, those other players as well going on and having success too. It breeds the fact that we have just got one of the best setups in the world, possibly.
Yeah, well, we've got such a good facility, and it's, we treat the academies the same, the boys' academy, the girls' academy the same. With that pathways there, that if they're good enough, they come through. And as a fan, watching your team play, there's nothing better than seeing someone come through the ranks and make it all the way through into the first team, a first team full of international stars, and you're seeing someone that you've nurtured come through. You think that, as a fan, there's nothing better than that. So it's always great to see. And it's good to see that Gareth, despite having such a good squad this season, he has found space for these players to come train with the first team, travel with the first team, be on the bench, experience it all, maybe get a few minutes here and there. And then if they needed further down the line to become more experienced players, they've had that initiation into that world, into the first team world. So that's not a big shock for them, and they're ready to go, and they've all looked quite competent when they've played. I'm thinking of Millie Davis has had some minutes, hasn't she? And she's looked competent on the ball, and it's all building up confidence, and it's great experience for them all. I'm sure they've enjoyed it.
I mean, we continue to obviously learn more about Gareth, more and more about his managerial style and his expectations from the team. But like Jayne said, I think it's refreshing to see Gareth speak so sort of openly, in his post-match interview, saying, there are areas that we need to improve on. And, he's not saying that, we're the finished article at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to see, like you say, it's refreshing, and it's nice to see a manager. He's not afraid to kind of say these are the areas we want to improve in. He's not afraid to kind of look at his team and be critical in a way of finding ways to improve and finding ways. Even games that we've won quite heavily, still finding points that we could have done better and ways we can improve for the future.
Yeah, I agree completely with both of you. He's a breath of fresh air. He's a very good coach. He came into the job with a good resume in the youth team levels at City through the ranks. I think the players seem to really enjoy working with him. They all speak very highly of him. So it's like a happy ship. I think we mentioned earlier in the season, Emma, as well. It was important. I like the fact that he kept the same backroom staff that was already there. With Alan Mann, Chris Williams. I think that's continuity is something that you lose in football quite often, and we kept it. Although Nick moved on, the rest of the staff stayed the same, and I think that was a big issue, a big help personally, I think. And Gareth, will have different ways of doing things to what Nick will have had, without a doubt, and he's the boss. But having that basis of people who've worked with those players for a number of years as well, I think will have only helped.
Yeah,
so it's great.
I agree completely with that. I think that has been played a really important part that's perhaps gone unnoticed, really, especially from like outsiders maybe looking in, that maybe don't understand sort of like that background, that backroom.
Yeah. It's sometimes you get these managers and they keep those teams with them. So when they go to a different job, they take the backroom staff with them because they like to have the same people around them all the time. Obviously, with the job that Nick took, that wasn't the way it was working. He was going to be the assistant in New York, so he went. But Alan and Chris and the staff all stayed at City, and I think that's a massive plus. So that when Gareth come in, he had that stability to build on.
On Sunday, City face Everton at the Academy Stadium in the WSL, an opposition that you cannot underestimate in this league at all. Set to be a tough test at home. Considering I thought we were actually playing away, I'm actually really pleased to learn that we're at home. What are you expecting heading into Sunday's game?
First of all, I'm glad Jill can't play because she's on loan from us, so that's a plus point.
Her thoughts in that 90 minutes.
Obviously, we will see, as Jayne said, there's quite a lot of ex-City players. I presume we'll see Claire Emsley, Izzy Christensen, Sandy McIver in goal. And as you say, we've got a very good record against Everton. We tend to beat them a lot, but it's never easy. I mean, if you look at the FA Cup final, what a tie that was. We ended up winning 3-1 with 2 late goals in extra time. It was such a close game, the 90 minutes and things like that. So I'm expecting another tough game. Everton have definitely improved this season under Willie Kirk. They've got some quality players there. Govan up front and Lucy Graham and Izzy, as I've already mentioned, quality team with good players. So I'm expecting a tough game.
Yeah, and I think I would agree with that. They're a quality side, Everton. They've got a lot of good players. Izzy Christensen, the girl up front, what's her name?
Govan.
Yes, Govan, who is a quality player. So it's going to be a tough game. It should be one that we're capable of winning, but it won't be easy.
Who do you think the players to watch will be on Sunday, given that obviously we've seen some rotation in the squad over the last couple of games? Do you think Gareth will look to call upon, Janine Becky, who's perhaps ready to come back into the squad? Hopefully Kira Walsh might be available as well, back in the starting 11.
Well, I would imagine if Kira's fit, she was on the bench for the Florentina game. So if Kira's fit, we might see her back starting. Yeah, Janine's another one. You could see that she probably would be in need of a run and fancy a game, and she'll be up for that. I think I'll make a prediction that we might see Rose Lavelle start. possibly, and start the game on Sunday, because I remember the Continental Cup tie against Everton earlier in the season at the Academy Stadium. Rose came on, scored, and played a very strong game that night. So he might have that in the back of his mind that she played so well against these earlier. And I thought she'd been playing well. You know, she played well. She was away with America recently and played well the other night when she come on. So I'll make a prediction that we might see Rose start, but I'm sure Gareth's got his starting lineup in mind, and rotation is part of Gareth's plans at the moment.
Yeah, he's got the kind of selection headaches that you want to have. You know, he's got selection headaches that he'll be thinking of because we've got so many quality players that you're looking at our midfield and you're like, I've got to leave one of these out here. I've got to leave 2 or 3 of these out actually here. So, you know, how do I do that? Who am I leaving out? What kind of formation am I going to play? So it's the kind of thing that he'll be happy he's got that kind of issue, but also, you know, he's got to make his decisions about who he wants to play on the day.
I think he may plan ahead for next Thursday's second leg as well. So we might see players that play Sunday that then don't start in Italy next week. You know, so people who don't start Sunday, when it tends to be City, people tend to use the word dropped. They're not being dropped. He's rotating. He's planning for the next game as well all the time, which if he's got enough fit players to do, is a nice position to be in.
He said he loved it when players, you know, don't like being taken off.
Yeah.
I mean that's great, because it's showing that hunger, that passion, that fight within the squad for wanting to play their part, and I can't say at the moment, and I think we've said this before, that I can signal any one player really particularly that hasn't really played their part in this season so far. We literally are utilising every single player, you know, and it's great because I think it's not predictable. You know, we've got the starting 11. Who's it going to be? Like you said, you don't really know when he's got them sort of headaches. You genuinely don't know who you're going to see. But then whenever that lineup comes out, you're like, yeah, that's a strong squad.
Yeah, definitely. And like you say about him, kind of, you know, he likes it when the players want to stay on the pitch and want to play. He comes from a background of being a footballer himself, doesn't he? So he knows kind of, you know, the attitude of those players who think, no, I want to be on the pitch and I want to play for, you know, as many minutes as possible, versus, you know, maybe sometimes in his career, if he's come up against people who are not as bothered when they're taking off, like, right, I get a rest now. You know, he wants people who want to play football. That's what they're there for.
Yeah, and like you say, everyone's playing so well. It's going to be a right battle for player of the season this year because there's so many candidates. It's a great problem. As Jayne said, it's a good thing that you don't want to be relying on 1 or 2 superstars carrying everybody. It's been a great team effort. So that's why we're where we are. You know, we're in a good position in the league. You know, we're going well so far in the Champions League.
A bit of a prediction for Sunday then?
I think it might be tight, but I'll go for 3-1 to City.
And I'm thinking 2-0 for City.
A win's a win for us. I think it's the 3 points are what it's all about for us. If we get that win, we'll all be happy.
I'm really enjoying the clean sheets at the moment. I think the clean sheets are just as important as getting a good result. I was thinking a 3-0 again.
Well, that'll do us,
Sounds
won't
good.
it?
And with the defence have played really well lately, actually. You know, I think Steph's had some great games recently where she's really impacted not just the defensive play but the attacking play as well. So that shouldn't go unnoticed.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of unsung heroes in this squad at the moment. It's going to big up everyone on this week's episode.
All of them.
Yeah.
And finally, some good news. The FA Cup will return at the end of the month following a long-awaited announcement from the FA earlier in the week. The competition was initially paused back in January in line with the new government restrictions, but will now recommence without a coin toss in sight for the final first-round tie, which will be played on the 31st of March. The 17 second-round ties will be played on Sunday the 4th of April, with the third round commencing the following week. City's defence of the Women's FA Cup will begin with the fourth round clash against Aston Villa at the Academy Stadium on Sunday the 18th of April. If City progress from the tie, the remaining 3 rounds are due to be completed at the beginning of next season for the 22 season campaign, and although we won't see the competition concluded this season, it will be welcomed by many that the FA have now worked out a viable option for completion, especially after so much uncertainty, and it will give the non-elite clubs the opportunity to compete and progress in the Cup, which is what makes the FA Cup so special. I mean, how pleased are you to see, obviously, the news announced this week that the FA Cup will now return?
Really pleased, because like last year, I was a little bit worried it might have got cancelled because of the situation in Tiers 3 downwards. So I believe we're going to complete the 4th round where they're going to do the prelim rounds, and then the 4th round when ourselves and the other WSL and Championship teams come in, and then the 5th round also towards the end of this season, with then the quarters, semi and final next season, which is very similar to what they did this season at the start. Held it over. So to me, it's better. It's not ideal, but it's better than cancelling it, because it gives those teams that have that dream of an FA Cup day. If you think about our tie with Ipswich last season, what a great day out that was, and we had a great time with their fans. It was a superb day. That's what the FA Cup's about, especially in those earlier rounds. So I'm really pleased it's being completed. And, it's not ideal. We'd like to have had it completed on time, and some of these teams are not playing any more league games, so they might be a bit rusty when it comes to these cup ties. It's difficult because we're in these unique circumstances that we're in, and hopefully next season things will level out and return to a more normal playing field. But personally, I'm happy to see it completed rather than it being cancelled.
Yeah, definitely. It's really good to see it back. Like you say, those teams who didn't know what was going to happen with their rounds, the non-elite clubs who were playing in it still, didn't know what was going to happen. So for them, it should be really good news that they get to continue and they get to play in the Cup, with the dream of getting to Wembley still on the table for them. So like you say, taking it into next year's, not ideal. We'd like to get it over and played this year, but it's just not going to be possible. So the fact they found a viable solution for it is really good and is really, really hopeful.
Yeah.
The most shocking thing is that we got a home draw, I believe, against Aston Villa.
That's Villa. Yeah, unbelievable.
we don't get many of those, do we?
I mean, I'm not going to knock these away draws anymore because we're doing all right so far this season. We're not been too bad. A nice change and a welcome one.
I know you've had the dream, Emma, of winning the FA Cup twice in one season.
I know.
And that can't happen now this season, but keep your fingers crossed because it could happen next season. But you never know.
Keeping the belief alive. Well done, Dave.
Keep that dream alive.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just fantastic, like Jayne said, that we're now able to move forward with a viable option that, all right, I mean, I can understand from a point of view from the non-elite status is that, in terms of preparations, training, it will be limited in obviously the lead up to that. But the fact that these games will still be played, to me, is better than nothing. It's their shot, their opportunity, their time to compete. And it would have been a real shame if that hadn't have been able to happen.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, we don't want to take you don't want to take that away from those teams who've kind of, won games already in the competition and are ready to play in the next round. And it's not ideal for them, obviously, with the training side of it, but getting the games played is better than not getting them played.
Yeah, definitely. I'd take it.
You never know when it's played next season. Whoever's in the later rounds, hopefully we're there, but whoever's there, the fans might even get a chance to go to some of these games now, so there's another plus point to it as well.
It is great now that we're in a position where things are starting to feel as though we're moving in the right direction, and there definitely seems to be a bit more light at the end of the tunnel. And
fingers crossed.
Yeah, it is. Things are definitely looking up, and it is beginning to look more like we might get back in the stadium soon. It might not be before the end of the season, but at least things are moving in the right direction, and hopefully we'll get there soon.
Definitely. Fingers crossed, as you say.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for speaking to me tonight. I know there was a bit to get through, but it's been great speaking to you both.
And you, Emma, can I just give a plug that we've got for all our members, all our OSC members, we've got a virtual online branch meeting next Thursday evening, which is obviously in the evening after the Florentina away games, next Thursday, the 11th. All the members will receive an email of how they can join in, and we'll have a bit of a get-together and a chat. So anyone that wants to come on, Well, because that's next Thursday, the 11th. But you'll get an email.
What
Thank you.
time?
7 p.m.
Brilliant.
7 p.m. next Thursday.
That's great. Cheers, guys.
Thank you,
Thanks, Emma.
Take care.
Take
See you
care.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. And that's it for this week's episode. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks to Dave and Jayne from the OSC for joining me on this week's show. We'll be back next Friday. Don't forget Sunday's game will be available to watch live via the FA Player. Kickoff is 2 p.m. and we'll be back next week. Stay safe, everyone.